Good day, friends. This is Tracy Brown, and my team and I of non-diet dietitians provide trauma-informed care so that you can feel safer in your skin. So in the last video, we talked about, just kind of giving yourself a lot of compassion for when you are in this process of building, new neural pathways to be able to eat more. I don't know what the word is, what word we ought to use that best fits our circumstances. I'm not sure I love the word normatively, but maybe we'll call it competently, that like you know what you need to eat, you feel like you're entitled to try to procure that, you make the time to do it, and most of the time it goes decently well. I guess that's what we'll call competent eating, right? And that you have this beautiful mix of what we'll call it supportive eating, which is maybe eating from a nutrition perspective, and there's also lots of play and pleasure in there as well, that it all kind of works together, and that there's just no morality based to any of it. So we'll call that competent eating. Let's say that you're watching these videos because that's what you're hoping for. So I want to talk a little bit about, in this video, what are some things that we can set up to help you feel more successful, or at least that that these things can be shown over time to be really helpful and supportive to you. So I'm just going to give you some examples, and maybe if you're watching this live or you watch the replay, that you can put some of your own examples below that will, support other people as well here in this community. And so when I think about what are things that set us up for, things going relatively well, and we know that recovery is not linear. I wish it was. So here's like a little chart real quick, a little graph. We all wish that maybe we had need for restricting, binging, dieting, over-exercising, different kinds of strategies to deal with fight, flight, freeze, or please that cause us maybe not, maybe stuck in life, whatever, or even possibly harm. Maybe we recognize this, we've been living this way, and we recognize, oh, maybe there's something different, And I wish when we learned some new stuff and we tried some new stuff that it went boop. I wish it went just like that. But most of the time, when we're in all this, that what we thought was helping us be in control is actually making our lives pretty out of control. Process is more like this. So you can see this line. This is what usually recovery actually looks like. All right. So we can't really control this, to be honest. But what maybe we can do is step by step, get really clear about, okay, if this is my longer term goal, and it can be something beautiful. Like I want to be able to eat out and just pick the most supportive and yummiest looking thing on the menu that meets my needs right now, and eat it, enjoy it, eat till I feel satisfied and good enough, or whatever level of fullness you want to get to. And then that's kind of the end of it. Maybe if it's a really amazing meal, you talk about the meal in the future. Maybe it was a good meal, it was great, you enjoyed the experience. If it's meh, you're like, okay, I learned something, but isn't devastation. All right, maybe that's one of your goals. Then we would want to think about, all right, so if that's the big goal, where do I start today? And maybe the thing today is to think about, one, what prohibits me from doing that? And for some people, it might be fear of weight gain. Because if you eat this freely, then maybe you can't also be the lower weight that you want to be to possibly prevent someone maybe in the future, or prevent memories from the past of someone criticizing your body. Maybe that's what all of that is about, that prevents that. Maybe for somebody else, it's, just some distortions, around how food actually works, how protein, carbs, and fat work. And we need some actually solid education around, and when you eat carbs, or when you eat fat, or when you eat protein, what actually happens in your body. Where does it go? What does it do? To help you recognize food is not magical weight gain food. All right. Maybe it's just a stigma about what it means about a person to eat a certain kind of way. And we've got to work on that. And those are really more value-based and relational-based things. So once we kind of identify what is the thought, action, or feeling barrier with the food and having that goal, where do we start? And maybe for you, it's starting to eat something, again, maybe challenging those thoughts and reminding yourselves, on a daily basis, like fat doesn't make you fat. And here's how you pull out that little note you took from a session, or maybe from your dietitian, or maybe you found an awesome actual nutrition textbook that you got at a garage sale that actually talks about when fat breaks down, what happens and where does it go, and actually believing the science. Okay. Maybe you found a great YouTube video that hasn't any fat phobic agenda, and it's just here's how it works, and that you watch that as often as you need to remind yourself to give yourself the courage to eat the fats or the carbs or whatever. Okay. Maybe for you though, some of the barrier is that I don't really know how to eat those foods, because I can't give it to myself. I want to have it, but I don't know how to it's out in the environment, but I don't know how to reach for it and take it in without a lot of activation. So maybe you need to practice eating those foods with safe people. And as you have that activation arise in your system, pause what you're doing, regulate, get some co-regulation from the person, the environment, whatever, settle, and then try to eat more again. And you might need to do that 100 or 1,000 times before, you've been able to differentiate enough between, in the past, something feeling familiar, if I ate that food, something maybe bad happening, versus a now time, literally nothing's happening. It's so all those body sensations have a lot more to do with fight, flight, freeze, or please than they have to do with the food not being, okay or safe or good for you. Okay. So those are some things we want, just to offer you. That's just one example of here's a big goal, but we've got to unpack some stuff to figure out what's the barrier, and then what's the appropriate help to that barrier to helping you get that food in. That's something that is just really important, so you don't feel so frustrated that you try to do something but you can't maintain it. And again, the reason sometimes we can't maintain changes we want to make is because, one, we don't understand why we have the barrier in the first place. And if we don't know what the function of the barrier is, we can't provide sometimes the appropriate action to help ourselves. And so you can apply this to anything. So let's say, for example, you're wanting to get moving again. Maybe you've come to the place where it's I don't want to exercise for weight loss anymore because it doesn't work. I see that when I only move my body to manipulate my body size and to get it to be different, maybe to fit in more with the culture or whatever, is I can't keep it up. It just feels it feels like a job. It feels like it feels humiliating. I feel shame. I don't want to deal with that. And we just stop, because even if it's something you enjoyed, right? But if we shift the focus, what's our values? And do the reasons you are going to move, do they align with your values? Because if you get your actions and your values aligned, you're more likely to want to keep going even when it's hard, right? So let's say that you make your goals around movement, and you're bringing a lot of awareness and self-compassion to this. It's oh, okay. I see when I take my time and I trust my body and I give as much time as it needs to be out of this threat response around movement, and my expectations on a body who's been stressed out around movement for decades, when you're consistent over time, and when I say over time, I talk in time and months and years with clients, on days and weeks. And so you might find that you might be the fittest you've ever become in some middle or later stage part of your life because of the consistency and because of the value matching and the compassion. And you find joy in being able to move. You find gratitude in being able to move. You see that you are improving your fitness. Your body might not change too much in the way it looks, but you feel confident and competent that with the body you have at whatever season or era of health you might be in, that you're doing pretty good. It may not be what you thought contentment with movement would be maybe in your 20s, or maybe even still in in diet culture, but you're feeling pretty satisfied, and it becomes part of your life. So, and that's all really possible, but we have to start with the thing that's maybe holding you up is like, if I don't get XYZ results in XYZ weeks, then it doesn't work. And I'll give you a little pro tip, like bonus here as I finish up this video, is if you're having moments of feeling like what you're trying to do isn't working. I've tried this before. I tried intuitive before. I tried to da-da-da-da. And as you're saying it, you can feel inside that you're feeling this frustration, maybe this anxiety, maybe some shame. I think we really need to look at how we're approaching doing what we're doing. Because what I typically see for people who tell me they tried intuitive eating is that they really haven't excavated enough of their desires for weight loss to happen quickly, or health changes that happen quickly. A good bit of their life is still, there's a little bit of romanticization of like, gosh, I don't have this eating disorder, all my life will be great. And no, it's going to be awesome if you don't have disordered eating, don't get me wrong, but it won't fix everything. It will be awesome when you're not calorie restricting anymore or not binging anymore, but it doesn't fix every part of your life. And it's not going to fix the relationship stuff, or it's not going to erase if you have issues with sleep, or other maybe there's some trauma related symptoms you've got, or other things that like I wish peace with food would fix all that. It may not. And so that doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. So thank you all for coming live. If you watched this video, I'm just finishing up, but please go back and watch the beginning. I did ask for some examples if you have some that you would want to share with the community around what are some things that have helped you when things are hard. I know that sounds like a simple request, but once you kind of see Monday's video and then today's video, it'll make sense that we're being very, very specific about what helps set you up to keep doing the things that basically are good and that match your values. But maybe there's not instant results. It doesn't always feel easy or good. But it's right. So just, we're here to support each other. So I hope this video helped you with that as well. So thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.